Good afternoon and happy Monday, ICB bookkeepers. I am so pleased to be back again. I'm standing in for Gary, who is otherwise engaged. And judging by the huge numbers of people who've signed up so far to this webinar, it would seem that lots of ICB bookkeepers are doing a tremendous job supporting the restaurant sector. So we've got Jacquie Mount here to help us with the latest updates on the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, and she's going to be telling us how to deal with it in the transactions. So that's the important bit, isn't it? So without further ado, Jacquie, I'm going to hand over to you, please, and then I'll field some questions as we go along.
Lovely, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's not Friday, it's not thank fellow it's Friday, it is Monday, and it's me again, and we just wanted to do a top up on some of the things that I said on Friday. So for those of you who haven't been able to pick up on any of those yet, let's just explain from the start exactly what the new scheme is about. It opens today, it runs until the 31st of August, and basically it allows participating restaurants, pubs, cafes, anywhere where you eat in, not takeaway, but eat in, the chance to offer a 50% off voucher on all food and non-alcoholic drinks. The maximum that they can offer is £10 per diner, and this is going to make the calculations quite complicated. So what I'll do is I'll run through the various bits and pieces that you need to know about registering, and then we'll have a look at what it covers, and then I want to go through some of the bookkeeping techniques that you may or may not want to use, and how we can start talking about how you're going to actually get this recorded in the accounts. So as I said, it's open to registered food businesses. They have to have been registered with their local authority prior to the 7th of July to take part. So that stops your pop-up businesses taking part in this. So they have to have been a registered provider of hot eating food since the 7th of July. And as of this morning, I looked up the numbers, and over 70,000 businesses registered UK-wide. I think if you go onto the gov.uk website, forward Eat Out, I think it's called, I had that the other day, gov.uk/eat out, you can see a list of all the participating restaurants in there. The restaurant has to have registered prior to being able to offer any vouchers, and it can take up to 10 days for everything to be set up and you're able to claim the vouchers back. So ideally, businesses should already have registered, because if they haven't registered by now, it's going to be a little while before they can actually start offering the service to their customers. Certain things that it doesn't include, you can't use it if you are a hotel offering room service only. So the room service is not included. And you can't use it for meals like fixed price events such as a cruise dinner. So if you think you want to go on one of those London cruise liners that offer dinners tonight, you're out of luck, but you can still go. You might be able to go, but you can't claim the 50% off. So the actual scheme therefore covers restaurants, cafes, bars, etc., anything like that. It also offers canteens that include school and work canteens, and food halls. So if you go into one of those shopping malls where they've got a food hall and you buy your food and you go and sit down and eat, then that is also covered as well if they have registered. In order to register for the scheme, you have to go online and register, and you have to have the business's government gateway details. They have to have the business address of each business if they're registering less than 25 businesses. Now, any more than 25 businesses, it's likely to be a chain of businesses. So therefore they have a different registration and claim form. But I'm keeping this to the smaller chains and the individuals that our members are more likely to be dealing with. They have to be able to provide the address that will be on their bank statement. So they're doing almost like an AML check here, that you've got the same registered address as is on your bank statement, and you have to enter the date you actually started trading. Now again, that picks up the 7th of July date. You may also have to input your PAYE references if you have staff, and any VAT details if you're VAT registered. So most businesses are going to have to record all that information as well. And you will probably also have to put in your corporation tax or self-assessment tax, unique tax reference, UTRs. There's quite a lot of information that you're going to have to input for your clients, or your clients are going to have to input. It's important to know, though, that when the claim is being made to refund the vouchers, that the agent, so our members, you as members, cannot make that claim on behalf of your clients. It's like the SAYS form. You can't claim their self-employment grant. You can't claim this one either. They've got to do this themselves. So you're probably going to have to hold their hands through doing this, because as we know, the reason that you're doing the work is that they don't want to do anything to do with HMRC, but this is another one where unfortunately they're going to have to. It's not open to agents. I'm not 100% certain whether the registration process is open to agents, but hopefully that is, but you can't make the claim. But I haven't been able to find out about that one. So things you have to do when you're registered with the scheme: when you give them the bill for the meal or the receipt, or you're taking the voucher off, the bill has to show that it's part of the Eating Out to Help Out scheme. So it has to be noted on the bill somewhere. Now, there's quite a few things that are going to happen here that your clients might have to either sort of change the way their till prints things out, or manually write on the receipt. It's not going to be as easy as it originally looked like. A lot of these government schemes, it's fantastic, it sounds great, it's aimed to help everybody, but actually managing it could very well be a nightmare. And I've spoken to quite a few members already. Those that were in on listening on Friday will know that we talked about various conversations I've had with members that have been asking all sorts of questions and very sweetly ringing me or pointing out things that I've missed and they've picked up. So thank you for anyone who's input into this. When you actually do the claim online, or when your client does the claim online, there are various things that they have to input. One is the total number of people who have used the scheme. So that's the total number of customers that you've had for which you're making a claim. Now, if you are using a till ordering system, let's say you're in a restaurant or a pub and the waiter waitress comes around and takes the order and they go and input it into the till, they quite often have to put in the number of diners. So the system should enable you to be able to record that automatically. However, if you're in a small cafe and you're queuing up along the self-service and you're buying your stuff at the end, the client is going to have to somehow manually work out how many diners are included. So if you've got one person coming to the counter and there's a table of 4 sitting down, you might very well have to ask everybody how many in your party. Or you might just assume that 6 donuts that they've got on their trays for them only. But you're going to have to find this information, so it's not going to be that easy. You have to show, when you're putting your claim in, the total value of all your transactions. Now, this should come from your till, and the total value of discounts that you're claiming, because that's obviously what the refund is going to be. The portal for the first claim opens on the 7th of August, and you can submit weekly claims. You have to declare the VAT in full, and any money that you get back is taxable income, but I'm going to come back to that in a moment when we look at how to enter this into the books. So let's have a look at the VAT first of all. The one thing we've spoken about recently as well is the change of VAT for eaten and takeaway food and non-alcoholic drinks, which is dropped from 20% to 5%. So now, if you're participating in all of this, you're going to have to work out your VAT at 5% on some of it, and 20% if you're offering alcoholic drinks. You've also got to keep an idea of the number of people that you're serving, the total amount of claim, and the total amount of the transactions on which the claim is based. And I suppose, as a very simple check, if you take the total number of the total value of all your receipts divided by the number of people that you've had in there, and that should be the total amount. If you're 50%, that's somewhere near what you might need to be claiming back, but that's a very, very crude estimate of what you're going to claim, and there are all sorts of hidden things in here that can be claimed for and not be claimed for. For example, if you have a a cafe bill which totals say £30, you can only offer, if it's one person, you're going to offer £10 off the bill. However, if that £30 covers 2 of you, you can offer 50% up to a maximum of £10 per person. Okay, so I think that's it as far as your clients are concerned, the restaurant owners. If you are a customer, you do not need to apply for a voucher yourself. You can just go into any participating restaurant and it will happen automatically, and there is no minimum spend. So even if you go in and just buy a cup of coffee, you can get 50% off of that, which helps out. I know at least 4 of my neighbours were up at our local farm shop this morning buying breakfasts because they were getting 50% off, and that makes it a very, very good deal indeed for a full court breakfast at 50% off. So have we got any questions before we start, Amy?
We do have a question. Yeah, Alina Paluch-Balconi, ever so sorry if I've said that wrong, it's probably should be pronounced much more interestingly, has asked about B&Bs, whether they can charge for the breakfast, and she said that specifically the B&B she's talking about has that breakfast is optional and it's got a separate price.
I would think yes, you can. The only thing it said about sort of staying accommodation is if the meals are offered as room service only. Now, there has been quite a lot of information going around about some hotels in the earlier days were offering room service only because to avoid having to open up the eating area. And those were hotels that were offering room service only. Those have been excluded. So I would imagine that, yes, if you've got someone coming down, they're buying the breakfast, they can get a 50% off voucher on that. And Terry's come back and said, Jackie, 6 donuts equals 2 diners, not 6. Yeah, okay, Terry. Okay. Anything on the chat line? No, not yet. Excellent. Okay, so if nobody's got any more questions on that, keep sending in your questions. I'm going to see if I can get this right. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully.
I tell you what, I've learned something, which is that we're now calling it SEIS, the SEIS, the Self-Employed Income Scheme. Didn't realise. I'm obviously out of touch, but I didn't realise we're now calling it. Did you say SEIS?
SEIS, they've called it. SEISS. It's a bit shorter than.
Very cool.
Okay, right. Let's have a look at how this might work. Now, what I would say is this is one example of how you might record this. I'm just going through the basic double entry, how the debits and the credits work. You will have to take what I'm doing here. This is the version according to Jackie. It's very simple. And adapt it for your own particular situation, because what I'm going to show here, as I said, is purely an example. Now, depending on your software, some software will allow you to do what I'm suggesting and others won't. So you're going to have to look at a workaround. But I just want to try and see, hopefully my spreadsheet works. I've got a number of accounts that you're going to access. And the first one is sales and VAT. So I've got a sales account and a VAT account, and I'm doing this in running balance format because it's easier to show the balances, and also it's how it will appear on a computerized package rather than the old T account. So if there's anybody watching who's actually signed into this that maybe is a student, and there are, I see a lot of Facebook posts from newish students who get very concerned about the debits and the credits and how it works. So forgive me if you are going to struggle with the concept of this, but basically a debit is an in and a credit is an out. So we're going to have a look at this. And let's suppose we've got a little cafe that sells, or a restaurant that takes about £3,600 per week. Now, what I've got here is I've worked out the VAT at 20%. Now, it may very well be that if they're not selling alcohol, their whole bill will have that at 5%, okay? You may have a mixture of that, but at some stage you will get your net sales and you will get your VAT. So to keep it simple, so it's easy to see. I'm going to keep the VAT at completely 20%. So as I say, be careful because a lot of yours is going to be at 5%. Don't forget, we've also got the discussion going on at the moment as to whether such establishments are going to reduce their prices to cope with 5%, or whether they're going to keep the prices they're saying pay less VAT and use it to try and reclaim some of the money that they've lost. But that's entirely up to them. Okay, so basically, what I've said is we've got sales of £3,600 in week 1, VAT of 720, and you will have some way of recording your gross income, which I've said let's put it into a till account, because I always like to follow the money. So if physically it's going into a till in the restaurant, I would have a till account and I would post it into the till account, because it literally gives you a complete audit trail. You may decide to use a completely different system in your accounts, which is fine. As I said, you're going to have to adapt this. So this is assuming that all of the money has gone into the till and there are no vouchers. So here, what we've got here is we have a sales account of £3,600, credit running balance, that's why it's negative, and a credit entry in the VAT account because it's VAT output on goods going out. So we have a balance on the VAT account of £720. So that is the total VAT on the full value of the sales. And what it's shown here, and I started all of these with zero balances, just so that we're not confusing both in balances. So the £4,300 will go into the till. Now, let's suppose that in week 1, you give something like £1,000 worth of vouchers. So what you've actually got coming in cash will be £3,320 and £1,000 that you've given in vouchers. So somewhere in your system, you've recorded the amount of vouchers that discount that you have given to your customers. So what's happened now then is we have our sales don't change at all. That is your sale is your sale is your sale, as is the VAT. But what happens is that you've actually placed £3,320 into a till account, which could be a mixture of cash, debit cards, credit cards, whatever. Now you may in your system have separate accounts for debit and credit cards, but hopefully you can see and you can adapt your system. But now what's happened is over here, the vouchers are showing in a voucher account because that is now money which is owed back to you. So you're going to claim it back from the government. So it's going to be a current asset, okay, because the money is due to come back to you. Now, depending on your system, you can set this voucher account up either as a bank account or a current asset account. And that's going to depend on your personal preference. There are software packages which seem to struggle with paying money into certain categories of accounts. And therefore I would possibly set this up as a bank account because you've actually still almost got money flowing in and out of it. So now what we've got is we've got our sales of 3,600, we've got VAT of 720, we've got 3,320 in the till and £1,000 debit sitting in a voucher account. Now, what you're quite likely to do at the end of week 1 is go and pop some of that till money into the bank. So let's now go and bank some cash. So let's say we're going to bank £2,500. You literally take the 2,500 out of the till and put it down here into the bank account. Now, at the end of week 1, you make your claim. You claim back, you're going to claim back the £1,000, but it's not going to arrive, or it may not arrive, before you start posting your week 2 transactions. So let's say in week 2, your sales drop a bit. Let's go for £2,500. There's your sale going into week 2 with a running balance. There's your week 2 VAT with a running balance. The £3,000 at the moment is in the till account, but if we now drop that and say we're going to have £500 worth of vouchers, is 2,500, £3,000 including VAT going into the till, £2,500 in cash or card receipts, and £500 on your voucher account. So here's the 2,500 that's gone into the till account, and here is the £500 that's gone into the voucher account. And HMRC basically at the end of week 2 now owes us £1,500. Now what happens now is that your vouchers arrive and will be paid into the bank. So what happens is we've got vouchers of £1,000 from week 1. So the £1,000 is going to be paid into the bank and will come out of the voucher account. So there's your double entry. You'll credit the voucher account and you'll debit your bank account. And don't forget, you've got to put your bank details in, and that's going to transfer it directly across into the bank. So where you are now, your till account is sitting here that you can then bank your week 2. Your week 2, your voucher account balance is now down to £500, which is what you gave in discounts for week 2. So you can see that that's going to build. I'm going to leave that on the screen and share the screen, and we'll start to take questions. You can make this as complicated or as simple as you need to, and it's going to depend very much on your particular circumstances and how you record all your income for your particular client. There are loads of ways of doing it, but hopefully if you're working with clients, you understand the system. What I would say is if you're on the flat rate scheme works slightly differently, because what you'll do then is you won't actually have any VAT up here. You'll have gross sales, and then you'll work out your VAT as an adjustment. So this is for someone who's not on the flat rate scheme. Those of you who are on the flat rate scheme, and I've had a chat with a number of you, will know how to deal with VAT for that. So you're just putting here, you're just recording your gross sales, and then you will make an adjustment at the end of the quarter, presumably for the VAT you're going to declare and pay to HMRC. So you can adjust this accordingly. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, Liz had a question about an individual bill. If the customer pays for the meal on 2 bills, so for example, if they had a starter and a main and then thought, so delicious, let's have pudding as well. I can see you smiling.
You are far too clever for me, Mindy. You really, really are. The answer to that is I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. The thing is, that's the way around the system that allows you to claim more than you would, because you're then going to get, you could then get the £10 on the main course and the and then another £10 or 50% off the dessert. I will have to find out about that and get back to you. We'll try and get some information back out to everybody on that one. So 1 or 2.
Yeah, I wonder, it may well be that the restaurant is given set instructions to give set instructions to the diners to say don't do that. Top points.
Or set instructions to do that and say if you pay separately, you can get more money off.
Yeah. Terry Ram has come back and asked for more information about what needs to go on the receipt if it does need to say the Eat Out scheme on it.
Yes, I had a quick look on the gov.uk link. Now, if you go into gov.uk and you put in Eat Out to Help Out, there is a document on there which has gone up. I certainly didn't see it last week, so it's gone up fairly recently. And it does have a lot more information on there. And that's where I picked up from this morning, that you have to have on it that it's part of the Eat Out to Help Out scheme. Whether you can program the till to do it or whether you have to manually write it on the receipt, I'm not sure, because also it's how you're actually going to show the discount in your till system. Now, I can't really help you on how you're going to show the discount and how you're going to work this out, or your client's going to work this out at the till. I think that's going to be something you're going to have to work out with your clients. It's going to depend on the till system that they've got. They might have to give manual receipts out which shows the discount. We've already said that some tills can't split out 5% VAT, so there's going to have to be a manual adjustment shown on the tills, on the receipts to show the VAT that they're paying. To be honest, this is not going to be easy. I think we're going to be coming back on this one for the next week or so. We probably might just about get most of the questions sorted by the time the scheme closes. The last day for claiming from HMRC is the 30th of September, so very tight window. Literally, this starts today and the end of it is the 30th of September. So it's purely an interim, and I will make absolutely no comment at all about the sheer volume of work that everyone's going to have to do for 1 month. But I'm not making any comment about that at all. So,
can I just clarify? So the scheme for diners runs until the end of August. Claim until the end of September.
Claim until the end of September. And the other thing that Terry's come back with is said, I have a small cafe that often customers don't even take a printed receipt. I think it's probably all right not to give them a receipt, but if they ask for one, you've got to give them one. So obviously you're going to have to do something on it, but have a look on the actual documentation. It doesn't say very much more than you have to show, probably just the letters EOTHO, it says on the receipt, so you can quickly handwrite that, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm looking for that. If I can find it before the end of the session, I will post a link to it.
Julie says, did you say claim the VAT when the grant is paid into your bank? No, sorry. Let me go back and explain that. The VAT is part of your normal VAT return. You have to declare the VAT in your accounts at the point of sale, but this is not part of the claim. What you're doing is you're claiming 50%, which includes the VAT. But of course, the VAT that you charged on the bit they've paid is sitting in your till. So that will go out on the next VAT return. So when the claim form comes in, that gives you the money to pay the rest of the VAT. But the VAT must be declared at the point of sale. The VAT rules don't change. The only thing I will say before somebody asks if they haven't already is that if you're on a cash basis and the VAT comes in over the quarter end, could you pay the VAT in the next quarter? I think that's a timing issue. It's going to depend. If your VAT quarter ends in August and you're claiming back in September and you're on cash VAT, then you might be able to defer the payment on the VAT on the vouchers till you get paid. But again, I will look up that one.
And just to say, we can share the spreadsheet after the session as long as.
Yes, I can. I'm happy to put this up. What I will do is I will write some notes on it, like I did with the flexible furlough calculator. I'll put some notes on how to use it. It is very simple, and it's more just playing around with it. I might do a little bit more programming on it, so it actually gets some more bits and pieces in there to give you. I think what I might do is I might extend it down to say 4 weeks, so you can actually put figures in and see what the situation is. Also, what I thought I might do is reprogram it so that the voucher is what you put in, and then the amount going into the till is the automatic calculation from that. But I'll play around with it and make it a bit more sophisticated for you, and hopefully get that up tomorrow or the day after if everybody would like to see that. It looks like you were recording gross sales, but HMRC, the money repaid is taxable too, so it's not recording this as a duplicate income. You have to declare it once. It's not duplicate income, because doing it this way, we're recording the VAT and the income at the point of sale. If you are going to record the net income, then when you receive your voucher becomes taxable income. But at the moment, the way I set this up, the voucher itself is not taxable income. It's paying for the taxable income that you've declared up here on your sales. So again, it's one way of doing this. You could record their sales, but then you're going to have to record your voucher income as income separately. And we think, depending on how you want to do your accounts, I think either will work. Julie has come back and said, I was thinking of the cash counting position. The VAT on the spreadsheet is showing the full sale prior to discount. The discounted price is not the vatable price. It's the whole value of the sale that is vatable. you still have to show your sales gross at some stage, and the complete VAT must be shown in full. So that's why when I looked at this, I thought record the sales and then record the voucher reclaim as a bank transaction. The end result will be exactly the same. So you might decide that if for cash accounting, you show the sales as net, and then when you bring your voucher in here, this then becomes your vatable income. So £1,000 you will then have to show as income and then strip out the VAT and pay the VAT at that stage. That's an alternative way of doing cash accounting, I think. But you do have to declare it all. So again, I might, if the questions are coming in like this, I might try and work on this. So I do one for standard accounting and one for cash accounting. I'll play around with it depending on what you want from me. Okay. Okay. Don't know whether we've got any more questions. Or questions on anything else on the whole thing here, rather than just this particular screen. If anybody's got any other burning questions they want to ask, but
You're asking for trouble there.
I know. But if there is anybody out there that's got other questions, I may not be able to answer them today, but I can certainly try. Anyone who's out there listening, if you've got any other ideas on this, then bump a message up in the question and answer, and I'll take it on board, because as I said, it's not something I get involved in on a day-to-day. Terry and I have had a number of conversations about this already, and he's been very helpful in pointing things across to me, saying, what about this, what about that? And if anybody else has got situations that they're in that they perhaps think doesn't fit into this and think there's another way, then
this is regarding David Kavanagh's talking about the how many diners it takes a donut.
No, we were just talking about the number of diners. If one person's going up and ordering at the counter, how are you going to record how many diners there are unless you ask them how many in their party? So if they've got 6 donuts, maybe it's not just a single person. Judith, did you miss much on Friday because you were at the beach? Well, that's just hard luck, isn't it? Very nice too, Judith. Nothing more than I said today. And if you want to watch the Friday, it is up on Facebook, so you can.
And YouTube.
And it was a fairly short meeting on Thursday because nobody wanted to ask any questions. I think the weather was too hot and too nice, so we got through the basics fairly quickly. Maria Headley said, what is 3320 on D2? Could you explain that slightly more, Marie, for me? I'm not quite sure what you're
D2, it's your amount in the till in week 1.
Oh, sorry, on D2.
Column D, row 2.
D2. That's assuming the amount going in the till is assuming that of the £3,000, you've given £500 worth of vouchers. So the 2,500 is the cash that you've actually received, either as a mixture of I think I will check those, but basically this is the sales plus the VAT equals what's gone in the till plus the vouchers. Total being 4320, which is sales plus VAT. David, my daughters would suggest that 6 donut constitutes one person's dessert. Well, that's absolutely fine. You just have to check, or your clients will have to check. Perfectly okay?
Perfectly okay.
She's obviously still at that age where she can eat 6 donuts and it doesn't have an effect on her weight. So that's great. Oh, to be that young again. Caroline, does the VAT change need to be shown in the till receipt? My client hasn't changed their till setup yet. They're not reducing their sales price. I'm happy to journal the figures incorrectly for the VAT return. You can have a simplified receipt which doesn't show the amount of VAT. If somebody asks you for a VAT receipt, then you have to provide one. So they're going to have to work out what the 5% is. I think it's going to be a nightmare if it's a mixed VAT at the moment with 5% and 20%. So again, this is all very much, let's try and work this out together between us, I think.
Yeah. And then I suppose you've got booze and things that aren't included, aren't discounted?
Yes, because your alcoholic drinks, so if one of you has a glass of wine, that's not discounted, or if you've bought the wine, that's not discounted. Also, that's not at 5%, that's at 20%. And this is really going to test our, well, as bookkeepers, as ICB bookkeepers, we will be able to quite easily do the bookkeeping, I think. I think the tough bit is going to be what the clients are doing as part of the actual day-to-day taking money at the till and working it out, because that could take quite some time. And this is, I'm not underestimating the difficulty of calculating this at very short notice when you've got a long queue, stretching out the door, social distancing or not, and trying to get this done quickly so you can get people through and seated or paid and out of the door. So difficult one, this one.
And the £10 is per person, isn't it? So if you have some people in the table eating more than £10 worth of donut, for example, and some people are eating less, then you work out the cap per person.
Yes, I think it's per person, 50% per person. What happens if you split the bill, and how you split the bill and allocate that? I think the idea is you keep it simple, and they can get 50% off the bill up to a maximum of £10 per person. I haven't seen anything in the paperwork that says you have to actually look at what each person's had and do it per person. It is per bill, it is per table, I think, or per group. Caroline has said, I'm working with my clients at the end of each day to try and make sure they are right and my records are right before too many days go by, fingers crossed. What a wise lady, Caroline. I would be very interested to see how it's going, actually. Maybe I might, if that's all right, Caroline, just say yes or no, whether I might ring you later in the week and see how it's going. I'd certainly like to have a chat with anyone who's actually doing this week. And oh, bless you. I will ring you, Caroline, in a day or so.
Fantastic.
So we can get some actual feedback on how this is working maybe for Friday. And I'll be able to come back with some more detailed information on Friday. So I think if you have got clients in the industry, and I'm sure lots of you have by the sheer number that signed up for today, I think the idea is to get on top of this and try and sort out problems as quickly as possible, because if you leave it too late, then your clients are going to be faffing around in the dark, possibly trying to work out what's going on, because they're relying on you to advise them. And if it's too late.
Sorry, Terry. Terry's like, don't make it more complicated. It's per bill, not per person.
Per bill, not per person. Yeah, Terry said it's horrendous as it is. Joking about discount per person. No, it is discount per bill. So you have to have the total value of the bill. You have to work out the split between food, non-alcoholic and alcoholic drinks. You can give 50% off up to a maximum of £10 per person. So if there are 4 diners, the maximum you could give them is £40. If there are 2 diners, the maximum they get is £20. And I will come back to the question of what happens if you pay for 2 courses separately. We'll try and find that one out. I'm sure nobody in HMRC thought about that. I'm sure you're all far too clever for HMRC.
I wonder. And just to say, if you are going to take advantage of the discount, why not see if you can add on an IC benefits discount as well? Loads of savings to be had there. You
can use more than one discount. Yes, you can. This is not, I'm not quite sure which discount comes in first. And you take this 50% off and then play with your ICB discount, or vice versa. No, I think you'll probably do the discount first. Work out what the total amount is that the customer's got to pay, and then if they have any vouchers or anything else that they use, that then comes off to pay it. Now, that's an interesting one, because what happens then is that adds more onto here. For if you're accepting vouchers and money off vouchers, that's a whole new ball game, and that's got to be added into the system as well. So you may have another voucher account down here for other vouchers apart from HMRC vouchers. So this is getting more and more complex as we get into it.
Yikes. So in the meantime, you'll be back on Friday.
I'm back on Friday.
Thank furlough.
Unless I decide to take a holiday by then, which I might very well do. No, I should be here Friday.
Apparently it's going to be 33 degrees again.
Yeah,
on
that's what I
Friday.
understand. Well, we're always a bit cooler down here because we're on the coast. And we get
Oh, that's good.
But if anybody has got any burning questions that they want me to have a look at before Friday, would you please email them into member services, and they will, for my attention, and they'll come across to me, and I will deal with them either with you individually if it's an individual query and it's a specific topic that you don't particularly want to raise on Friday. Please let me know and I'll try and get back to you, or I'll ring you, or I'll email you back. But if it's a general inquiry or a point you want to raise that you think might be useful for Friday, please let us know, because the more input we get into this, the more information we can get out to everybody. And I can only go on what I'm reading and what I'm picking up. And to be honest, I'm getting as much from the members as I'm giving out to you. I'm just trying to interpret what the government is saying and various ways that we can do this in the accounts. But as you've already realised, there are quite a few questions that crop up that I can't answer without going away and doing some research.
Thank you very much. So what we will do is, if you've booked in for this webinar on through the normal channel, through our website, we will send you an email download link for the Excel spreadsheet, and we'll put that up on the website as well in the COVID section. So you will get your copy to play about with and have fun with. And then on Wednesday, ICB TV will be back. We've got a new segment called Software Sessions, and we've got Chrissy Applin and Catherine Pyman going head to head in a friendly match between their favourite software sage and free agent. So if you want to get the inside scoop on why they think those pieces of software are so good, and find out for yourself which one you would consider using or moving across to or sticking with, then do please join us. And obviously if you want to take part in a similar segment like that in the future, please get in touch with us. Again, the main email address is always works. And so, yeah, it's the first of many. So what we're really trying to do is build up a real helpful comparative tool in the long run to help bookkeepers make those decisions faster and have less stress, because you've got clearly enough to worry about, I would say.
David's just come back and says, is it safe to go into the COVID section? I don't want to catch anything. Well, if anybody's vulnerable to catching that, then I'm going to get it worse than anyone, because I'm looking at it most days. So David, yeah, I feel your pain.
Just, follow the guidelines. Don't read it all at once.
No, yes. Well, I said on Friday, the government have just issued the first paper on what's going to happen with the UK borders from the 1st of January. And I opened it up Friday morning thinking, oh, I'll talk about that Friday afternoon. It's going to take me 3 weeks to unpack the content in it, because it's, it's certainly not easy. But I will try and get something out, hopefully in the newsletter at the end of this month on that, or this month on that. So lots going on at the moment. And I made the mistake of actually writing down all the government documents I've got to work through and write reports on or read and produce for you. And I wish I hadn't even started that. So first plan was had by all.
I don't know if anyone else has been finding, sorry to say this, Jackie's audio a little bit whiny. And it's like, I don't know if it's just my computer, or if anyone can tell me if it's, if you're getting the same with me, but I've been trying to...
David said I sound like a Dalek at times. I'm sorry about that.
So I'm going to get Jackie a mic, so you can thank the mic.
Yes, I have got one, I think, so I will use that if that's going to make it better.
Okay. Yeah. I think let's mic.
Nobody's mentioned it before, but yeah, I can certainly do that. Not a problem.
Yeah, so even better come Friday, even if it is 33 degrees outside. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Have a wonderful week and a lovely afternoon today, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I'm just reading some of the last comments. Okay, take care everyone. See you on Friday.
Bye.